Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. William Samoei Arap Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is clearly laying an elaborate strategy to capture Parliament. William Ruto has already captured the church. William Ruto has already captured the judiciary. Earlier today, William Ruto made an impromptu visit to Parliament. That visit by William Ruto, in my view, is intended to achieve certain political objectives. Because in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. In this video, I want to explain to you guys why William Ruto made that visit to Parliament, the objectives which the visit was intended or is intended to achieve. Before we do that, for those who are watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Now, let us get back to the main issue. And by the way, before we get to the main issue, Vera Sidika sitting allowance has disappeared. I don't know to where. But there are lessons which our young ladies should actually learn from Vera Sidika. And the latest move to go for medical attention and get over the plastic sitting allowance. Now, that's just by the way. Now, let us get back to serious business. William Ruto was in Parliament today. And from the photos which are coming out of Parliament, William Ruto was just free with members of Parliament. But that visit, in my view, was intended to achieve the following objectives. Number one, the capture of Parliament. Now, William Ruto is a typical politician. William Ruto has already captured the church. And in one of my analyses, I explained the reasons why William Ruto had to capture the church. The church has always been in this country the voice of the voiceless. The church was actually previously the voice who would speak on the vices which the government were committing against the citizen. Today in this country, William Ruto has silenced the church. So the church cannot speak anymore. Even if they were to speak, they don't have that voice which was respected previously. William Ruto also managed through strategic moves to capture judiciary. The other day, Makwiny was surprised that she has become very unpopular. The truth is, the judiciary lined up at one point when Ruto was in Parliament to greet Ruto. Even people close to William Ruto like Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi were against that move. It just confirmed that the judiciary is already part and parcel of the executive. The only arm which was still remaining was the Parliament. Parliament is supposed to provide oversight and is also supposed to legislate. William Ruto is the President of the Republic of Kenya. I was listening to the debate yesterday over the position of majority leader, and majority of Kenya Kwanza leaders were of the opinion that the position should actually be held by Kenya Kwanza, since it's supposed to be held for or on behalf of government. So, and I asked myself, do these members of Parliament really understand the role of Parliament? So the truth of the matter is that by going to Parliament, William Ruto is now trying to take charge because he's the President of the Republic of Kenya. You know, in Parliament, the Speaker of both houses are supposed to be the President of the legislature. They are the people calling the shots there. So the fact that William Ruto would go there, mingle with them, the Speaker would leave whatever he was doing to come and meet Ruto, the Speaker of the Senate, the Speaker of the National Assembly, to come and just have lunch with Ruto because he's there, basically means that they're already submitting. In an ordinary circumstance, even if William Ruto were to visit parliament, speaker would stay in his office, and then the deputy president would make his way to his office, because in parliament, speaker is actually the boss. And that's why even during presidential speeches in parliament, the speakers remain the boss. So the truth is, William Ruto has a strategy of capturing parliament. That's number one. Number two, I also tend to think that William Ruto learned a lesson from President Uhuru Kenyatta. Immediately Uhuru Kenyatta was elected the president of the Republic of Kenya, the moment he was sworn in and he became the president of the Republic of Kenya, he understood that executive and parliament were different. So a disconnect was actually created between President Uhuru Kenyatta and members of parliament. You know, members of parliament and senators, those are the politicians we have. The moment you disconnect with them, it means your politics will go wrong. So Uhuru Kenyatta then decided to focus more on his cabinet. And that cabinet was predominantly by technocrats. For Ruto, what he has done is that he has appointed cabinet. And some members of that cabinet are actually politicians, so that he can have that feel and link with the people. So Ruto is going to parliament for one single reason: to keep links with members of parliament. He doesn't want to fall for the same trap which Uhuru Kenyatta found himself in. Uhuru Kenyatta would only go to parliament whenever he had a national event. Other than that, he would not. So Ruto is trying to keep the link with the politicians, just going there, having tea with them. William Ruto lining just like any other member of parliament who take his meal, in my view, is part of that strategy to keep close links with politicians. Uhuru failed to create links or to maintain links with members of parliament. And that's why members of parliament, especially from his backyard, decided to betray him. And number three, I also tend to think that one of the objectives, silent objectives why Ruto went to parliament, was basically to discuss parliamentary leadership. You know, there's a debate in this country, and by the time of doing this video, the Speaker of the National Assembly was yet to issue directive on who is the majority leader and who is the minority. The truth of the matter is that as things stand, Azimio should be the majority. And in 20 days, Azimio should automatically become the minority. But Kenya Kwanza are insisting that they are supposed to be the majority, because some parties which were part of Azimio joined Kenya Kwanza. But by the time they were doing that already, they had submitted their documents to the registrar of political parties. Now, why would William Ruto go to discuss this with the speaker? Probably, I think he is keen on trying to make sure that, you know, Azimio don't fail. I mean, so that they don't break any law. So that they are seen to be people who respect the laws. One thing I know for sure is that William Ruto has already pronounced himself on this matter of parliamentary leadership. He believes that Kenya Kwanza are the majority because some people, some elected members of parliament or some parties who are part of Azimio have already joined him. So probably because Wetang'ula also would want to have a name that is not under the capture of the executive, who would want a situation where his ruling would be considered Solomonic. The way Marende, you know, Marende left parliament and he remains one of the best speakers of the National Assembly. Came Justin Muturi. Nobody's remembering Muturi for anything because he was part or an extension of the executive. So probably he went there to discuss with Wetang'ula and maybe Kingi on the issue of parliamentary leadership, so that if it's supposed to be Azimio, let Azimio have it. Then maybe in 20 days it will revert. If they're insisting on having it, then probably that's the deal they seal. Number 4, in my view, I also tend to think that William Ruto went to parliament because of the backlash on the MGO food. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto was under pressure to introduce MGOs in the country. But he was one of the guys who was opposed to such kind of food or genetically modified crops in the country. But now he's under pressure because he's the president. The Americans are piling pressure on him. Kenyans are questioning the rationale behind that removal of the ban, whether the concerns have already been addressed. So probably the discussion with the speakers of the National Assembly or with the even members of parliament was on this, so that they could see how the kind of legislations which are required to ensure safety measures are maybe necessary laws which will guide the introduction of GMOs in the country. And lastly, I think that William Ruto is also keen on Kenya Kwanza legislative agenda. He wants to ensure that their legislative agenda is not lost. So he will only do that by going to parliament. I can assure you, once President William Ruto made his appearance in parliament, Kenya Kwanza members of parliament were now re-energized. So that next time they will be told something, they will have to follow. I won't be surprised that in the next 1 week or two, Kenya Kwanza members of parliament will be called to State House just to have a meeting, so that William Ruto can continue interacting with them to discuss the legislative agenda of Kenya Kwanza. Remember, the cost of living are likely to go up. So how can they be at least reduced? Some of them went up because members of parliament decided to increase certain taxes. Can they effect those reductions? What about hustlers' funds? How can it be made a part of the legislative agenda? So many things which William Ruto promised people. So probably that's why he's facing parliament. And I remember Ledamo Lekina, through a tweet, questioning why Ruto went to parliament, probably because he wants a parliamentary system of government where the president, or maybe where everything is done through parliament. In fact, during campaigns, William Ruto was very clear that his government will be parliament and his party. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day. Bye-bye.